Hey everyone, today I want to take a look back at the first D&D adventure module I ever bought, and that was the Halls of Undermountain from 4th edition. The module was released in April of 2012. That was just 4 months after Wizards announced that a new version of D&D was in the works, and only a month before the first D&D Next playtest packet was released. Sadly, only 2 more 4th edition books were released after this one. It holds a special place for me because it was my first adventure module, and as I look through it with what I know about D&D now, I can see just how much they crammed in there. The book contains 3 adventures that you can run independently or as a single overlapping story, or you could ignore those altogether and just use it as a tool to build your own campaign. It has a lot of the flexibility that we've actually come to expect in 5th edition D&D. The first thing that you notice when you get the book is that it comes with 2 poster maps. The first one has the first level of Undermountain on one side and an encounter map of the Yawning Portal on the other side. The other poster contains encounter maps for 3 different locations in the dungeon. These days I try to avoid ripping out the maps from the book since I can easily get digital versions, but I didn't really know any better back then and I was so excited I went ahead and tore those out and used them quite a bit when I ran this campaign. Next we get a history of Undermountain, how it was created, and some of the details about the Mad Mage, if that name rings a bell. The next 2 pages are then interesting because they give a little summary about all the levels of Undermountain, even though this book only covers level 1, but it does provide a little bit of detail on all the other levels so that you could plant seeds if you plan to delve a little deeper. Then we get to a section that talks about the different ways you can get in and out of Undermountain. Each of the entrances drops the party into a different location on level 1, and they provide a little bit of detail to allow the DM to create some hooks for the party. Then it talks about the NPCs that you might find at the Yawning Portal. Of course, it mentions Durnan, a former adventurer and the owner of the Yawning Portal. And there's a number of other NPCs that tie into the 3 adventures that you could play. One thing I wish is that there were some NPC stat blocks in here, but sadly you're on your own to figure that out. This section talks about how to use the book for both running the adventures contained within the book or for your own campaign. It gives some details about the dungeon as a whole and some hooks if you're coming from another adventure. There are 3 awesome tables to help you quickly generate details about any room that the adventurers wander into. First, you roll on the appearance of the room, and then you roll as many times as you want on the other 2 tables to determine the contents of the room. If I had a complaint here, it would be that the random encounter table is actually located on page 89 at the back of the book. I'm not sure why they didn't include it here so that all those random tables would be in the same location. But either way, these pages alone make the Undermountain setting amazing. You can just drop a party in the dungeon and play for hours and hours exploring every single room and never run out of encounters for them. Then we get to the section about the actual adventures that they have in this book. There are 3 different adventures that can be played individually or as a larger story. If they're played together, then there's a final quest that can be added to wrap it all up. In all, 55 pages of the book are devoted to these adventures. I'm not going to go into a great detail on each adventure, but in short, the first adventure deals with a half-elf mercenary that's building a small army in Undermountain, and this is causing some concern about what he plans to do with it. The party is tasked with dealing with this potential threat. The second adventure concerns a vampire that has discovered the long-forgotten lab of a dead necromancer. The vampire is using his power to do bad things. Naturally, this cannot be allowed to continue. And the third adventure involves a group of lizard folk that transported into Undermountain via a portal and are setting up a small kingdom within. They're using their magical power to summon a demon, and it would be best if this was put to a stop. Within each of these adventures, there are hooks that link them together, and that leads the party to discover a secret door and into the final encounter if that's how you want to play it. And the very end of the book is a section on the monsters. It gives a few details on some of the specific monsters that you would encounter, as well as the stat blocks for some of the more generic creatures that you would run across. As my first module, I was really confused about what to do with this book when I first got it. I had no idea how to play or run D&D, and so I really needed things spelled out for me a little more clearly than what they had here. But now I see how great this book is. D&D is at its best when it's not telling you what to do, but rather giving you the tools to run the campaign that you want, and that's exactly what this is about. It's got the tables for you to generate details about all the rooms. It's got a random encounter table. It's got things to determine what the contents are. It gives you NPCs. It gives you the maps for different locations. It's really got a lot of great stuff in it. Have you run Halls of Undermountain? What do you think? How would you rate it compared to other Undermountain books like Dungeon of the Mad Mage? Let me know down in the comments. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel, and definitely check out this video here. Until next time, take care.